You keep rejecting God while describing Him perfectly. Welcome back to Thoughts from Underground. We've explored the conscious as fundamental, as plural, and even as absent from the cosmos entirely. Today, we reach for something far more unsettling. What if ultimate reality is singular, impersonal, yet still transcendent? What if it exceeds the physical, while also governing it completely? And what if your atheist heroes have been describing it the entire time? This is Octant 7, Impersonal, Monotheistic, Panentheism, where mathematics becomes God, where structure becomes spirit, where the transcendent principle is everything you claim doesn't exist. Here's a simple question. Is the symbol 1 the same as the word 1, the same as the word uno? Obviously not. These are different symbols, different languages, different vibration patterns, different material instantiations. But they reference the same thing, the numerical principle underlying all three. Now, scale that up. A mathematician describes mathematical reality as ultimate. A physicist describes the universe as fundamentally mathematical. A classical theologian describes God as transcendent, yet present in all being. A Taoist describes the Tao that cannot be named, but governs all things. Are they describing different things? Or are they describing the same principle through different symbolic substrates? Octant 7 says, they're describing the same dialectic infinitude, the same transcendent yet immanent reality, just expressed through different material manifestations. Sir Roger Penrose, one of the greatest physicists we've known, argues something radical. Mathematical reality isn't invented by human minds. It's discovered. It exists independently. Penrose calls this the third world. Alongside the physical world and the mental world, there exists a realm of abstract mathematical objects. These objects are eternal, unchanging, perfect. And here's the crucial part. The physical world is governed by mathematical reality. Physics isn't arbitrary. Physics is the instantiation of mathematical necessity. So mathematics, as impersonal, eternal, and transcendent, pervades all physical reality while exceeding it. This is panentheism, just expressed through math rather than theology. Penrose didn't call this God, but structurally, functionally, it's what Octant 7, Dialectical Infinitude, describes. One singular principle, impersonal and transcendent, yet eternally present in governing physical law. Now, consider George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, perhaps philosophy's most systemic thinker. Hegel argued that reality itself is a dialectical process. Thesis gives rise to antithesis. Thesis and antithesis are then synthesized into a new thesis. This continues ad infinitum, driving toward greater complexity, greater consciousness of itself. But pay attention to what most miss. The driving principle of this dialectic, the force that moves reality toward synthesis, isn't conscious. It's impersonal logic itself. Hegel called this the absolute, a singular principle that exceeds any individual manifestation, but is entirely present in all manifestations. It doesn't think. It simply unfolds according to its own necessity. The absolute is impersonal, monotheistically singular, panentheistic, both transcendent, logic driving all dialectic, and immanent, present in every synthesis. Hegel inhabited Octant 7 and from there he showed how apparent contradictions, thesis and antithesis, could be resolved without erasing each other. They resolve into something deeper that contains both. This is the octant's deepest move. Contradictions don't disappear. They're transcended through recognition of the deeper principle they both express. Here's where it becomes difficult to avoid. Many contemporary atheists claim the universe is fundamentally mathematical. Mathematics isn't invented, it's discovered. Mathematical reality governs all physical law. The atheist also claims there is no transcendent principle. There is no God. But mathematics, by their own definition, is impersonal, singular, transcendent, thus panentheistic. They're describing a God while denying one exists. They may reject the word God, but still embrace the structure God describes. Not because they're wrong, but because they haven't mapped the territory. They're standing in dialectical infinitude, insisting they're nowhere. The Taoist understood this. Lao Tzu wrote, "The Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. The principle is transcendent, impersonal, singular, yet present in all things." The mystic understood this. Tillich spoke of being itself as the ground from which all being emerges, not a person or a consciousness, but absolutely foundational. The physicist understood this, whether they admit it or not. Contemporary philosophy of physics has arrived at something called ontic structural realism. Reality is fundamentally structured, not substance. The objects we perceive are secondary. What's primary is the relations between them, the patterns, the mathematical structures that persist even when the physical stuff changes. Structure is impersonal. Structure is singular. One fundamental relational web. Structure transcends individual objects yet pervades them completely. This is dialectical infinitude, expressed through contemporary philosophy of science rather than theology. Here's the hard truth. Your most confident atheists are theists. They've simply renamed God as math, structure, law, or logical necessity. And they're right to do so, because the principle they're describing, singular, impersonal, transcendent yet immanent, is what many theists mean by God. The difference isn't ontological, it's symbolic. Different substrates, same principle. You can't reject octant 7 without rejecting the very foundations of physics and mathematics themselves. What defines octant 7's edges, you might ask? Add consciousness, claiming the transcendent principle is aware, and you enter octant 1, classical theism. Hegel's later interpreters who read consciousness into the absolute. Deny transcendence, claiming everything is entirely physical, and you drop to octant 3, Spinoza's materialism. Fracture the singularity, claiming multiple impersonal principles transcend and pervade, and you enter octant 8. But hold all three, singular, impersonal, transcendent yet immanent, and you're here. A territory of mathematicians, physicists, structural realists, and mystics willing to acknowledge the transcendent principle they describe is what others call God. So, do you believe ultimate reality is singular? Do you believe it impersonal, governed by logic or mathematics rather than consciousness? Do you believe it transcends the physical while governing all physical law? If yes, you occupy octant 7, dialectical infinitude. You share territory with Penrose, with Hegel, with Lao-Tzu, with every physicist who claims mathematics is fundamental to reality. This doesn't make you right, but it does make you consistent with what you've actually claimed about the universe. The map accepts you. The question is whether you'll accept where you already stand. If you've been following along, we've now traversed 7 of the 8 octants. 1 remains, the final territory, where singularity meets plurality, where transcendence meets immanence, where conscious and mechanism achieve paradoxical unity. Octant 8, impersonal polytheistic panentheism, where the map fragments one final time before we reveal its center. Until then, keep digging.